Greetings, Year 10. So this lesson is going to be focusing, just a mini lesson on the specific skill of stepping above the text. Now, this is a really, really important skill for analysing any text, whether it is a film, a poem, a novel, a newspaper article, in your language analysis or in your text response essays. What we need to do for the skill of English is we need to step above the text. And what I mean by that is that when you write your response, you need to consider that the characters in Macbeth and the characters in Black Panther are not real, okay? So when you write about Macbeth, don't write as if he was a real person saying Macbeth is power hungry, or Killmonger is power hungry, or T'Challa is brave. Okay, when you write like that, you sound like you think that they are real people and they are a real situation. And it might feel like that at times when you are watching the movie and when you are reading the play. But these characters are constructed. They're made by a creator. For Macbeth, the playwright. Okay, so the playwright Shakespeare, he created the characters for a purpose. And in the case of Black Panther, the director Bradley Coogler has constructed these characters for a purpose. He is directing them to act in a certain way, and he is making a lot of choices. So both of these, the director and the playwright, are making choices with their construction of the text. And when we write our English text response essays, we need to step above the text and talk about how the characters are constructed, not the characters themselves. And the same with the events. We're talking about the construction of the events and the placement of the events, not the events themselves. And the same as the use of symbols and everything that's inside the play, the words that are used. So when we talk about the construction of the text, we are stepping above the text, and it allows you to analyze so much more if we can step above the text. So we're no longer talking about things that happen in texts, but we're talking about how the novelist, playwright, director has constructed the text in order to communicate a message, how they've constructed a character. Okay, so that's what I mean by stepping above the text. And the easiest way that you can do this when you write a response is by including the playwright or director or the author, if it's a novel, but you begin your sentences with the name of the director or the name of the playwright. And that's the easiest way to force yourself into a sentence construction that actually is stepping above the text. And when you don't do that, you'll find that it lowers the sophistication and you can only get a lower score in your writing and understanding and your analysis in particular. It's analysis that this is really impacting. So I want to show you a paragraph. It's an okay paragraph. It's got some ideas. It's got some like knowledge of the text, I guess. It's not retelling the story, but it is a really simple paragraph. And we're going to look at this paragraph and we're going to try and improve it. In this case, all we're going to be focusing on is how we can fix it by stepping above the text. We're not going to try and fix anything else at this point. So if we come down here, this is the paragraph. So this paragraph starts off with a topic sentence that says, when characters are greedy and they lust for power, they destroy all around them. Okay, so that's our topic sentence. So I'm expecting this paragraph to be about how lusting for power causes people to destroy those around them. It should have evidence and examples from both texts and link sentence at the end, hopefully. So then we can read on. Macbeth's greed for power destroys him and the people around him. Okay, so we've introduced the character. So we're going to focus on the character of Macbeth. All right, the character. Macbeth becomes so power hungry that he is willing to kill his king. He murders Duncan in cold blood and then tries to cover up his crime by murdering the 2 guards. So here we're focusing on an event or a moment. And that's basically the structure that we're going to look for. We're going to generally introduce the character and the big idea, then get more specific in terms of moment. What particular moment can we focus on? In this case, there is the murder of Duncan and the murder of the 2 guards. And then it finishes by saying, in this way, power and greed leads to the destruction of others. So a really general kind of, almost like a mini link sentence in the middle here. You will notice perhaps that there's no quotes here, and that would definitely improve this paragraph. But for the point of this essay, we're just going to focus in on stepping above the text. So if we just stop there for the moment, what you'll notice there is Shakespeare's not mentioned. Shakespeare, the fact that this was a construction, a play written by Shakespeare is not even mentioned. Macbeth, this student is writing about Macbeth as if they're a real person. So Macbeth is destroyed by power, and it destroys the people around him. Macbeth becomes so power hungry, he's willing to kill his king, he murders Duncan. It's retelling a little bit, but it sounds like this guy Macbeth is a real person. So we need to fix that immediately. Let's try by stepping above the text. And we can do that from the very first sentence, our topic sentence, by adding some sort of comment about both texts. So both texts reveal the idea that when characters are greedy and lust for power, they destroy all around them. So that would immediately change this topic sentence into stepping above both texts. The second sentence, Macbeth's greed for power destroys him. Now we can start this by simply mentioning Shakespeare. So Shakespeare portrays Macbeth as power hungry. Full stop. All right. So we've stepped above the text by saying Shakespeare portrays Macbeth as power hungry. So you need to add some of these sentence patterns into your preparation and some verbs that will help you do that. So you need the words portray, depict. So you could also use Shakespeare depicts Macbeth as power hungry. So you're not saying he is power hungry, but he is being portrayed as power hungry or depicted as power hungry. Okay. Presented. So he presents Macbeth as power hungry. Okay. You could even use characterizes. He characterizes Macbeth as power hungry. So these are 4 good verbs that you can use when you are just describing a character that will allow you to step above the text. And you can do the same when you're doing it about how a director portrays a character or presents a character or characterizes a character, okay? So the second thing that you might notice here is that Macbeth's greed for power destroys him and the people around him. So we could continue that. So Shakespeare portrays Macbeth as power hungry and suggests that his desire for power destroys him and the people around him. Now, the people around him, let's change people to characters because that is better meta language. We understand that all of the people around him are actually characters that have been constructed as well. So we'll change people to characters. And then here, Macbeth becomes so power hungry that he is willing to kill his king. So we're going to need to step above this too. Once we've stepped above once, we can get away with not doing it in every sentence, but a good way, rather than just writing Shakespeare does this, Shakespeare does that, Shakespeare does that, if we're starting with the same noun, Shakespeare, every sentence, that gets boring. So another grammatical form that we can use is simply use the passive voice. So Shakespeare depicts Macbeth as power hungry. Okay. He portrays him, he presents him, he characterizes him. Instead of continuing with Macbeth, I'm going to say he is depicted as so power hungry that it is even willing to kill his king. So we've used portrays with a active voice, and then we've shifted to the focus being Macbeth, but Macbeth is depicted as. So if we're talking about the character, we'll use passive voice. Macbeth is depicted as power hungry, so much so that he's willing to kill his king. Okay. And if we are discussing an event, okay, so a moment, okay, we can still step above the text. There's so many ways that we can do this, but a really simple way that I'd like to go through with you now is by using a nominalization. So we take an event and we turn it into a noun. Okay. Okay, so we're going to pop over here for this bit. And so we can step above the text rather than saying he murders Duncan in cold blood, by using a nominalization. Macbeth's cold-blooded murder of Duncan reveals that, and then we can focus on our analysis, reveals the lengths that he will go to in order to fulfill his ambition. And this next sentence pattern can also help you. This can also be seen when. Okay, this can also be seen when he is presented murdering the guards. So the big take home to step above the text is start with the author's name, use passive voice when talking about the character, and this will force you to talk about the choices that the author and director are making with presenting. So now I'm going to get you to have a go at this with the second half here. So you'll find this in your OneNotes, and I really want you to have a go at stepping above the text for Black Panther. So similarly in Black Panther, Killmonger also lusts for power and he doesn't care who he destroys to get it. So you're going to have to step above the text by using one of those forms. Remember, the director, Kugler, is making choices with their maybe you could use a nominalization, like making it a noun phrase, or you can use a passive voice. Let's see what you can do here to fix this paragraph. Again, it's in your OneNotes. Pop over there. Now, I want you to do at least 3 changes that you can show me stepping above the text. Okay, you could also change sentence 1, sentence 2, and the final sentence, and that will show me your 3 changes that you are stepping above the text. All right, good luck with that, guys, and let me know if you need any help.